Hey, welcome back to the Lightspeed Social Agency podcast. I am your host, as always, Cody Owen, sitting down today with Chris. He is the owner and head coach at Green Sphere, and I have been taking note of y'all's posts and some of the marketing strategy. We've been friends on Facebook for a minute, and I sent you a message just to get you to come on and pick your brain a little bit about your marketing strategy. So thanks for joining us today, man.
Cool. Yeah. No, thanks a lot for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your backstory as a business owner, and then a little bit about the founding of GreenSphere, just to give people an idea of where we're at.
Yeah. So I've been in the green industry 20 years now, 20 years this month, actually. I was a landscaper for a very long time. I owned a landscaping company called Swayze Alexander Landscaping, and we branded our fertilizer division as Green Sphere back in 2016. And kind of loose plan at the time was moved more towards fertilizer and away from landscaping. So I started doing that between like 2018 and 2022. And at that point, effectively shut down the landscaping business and have continued on with just the Green Sphere brand as a standalone fertilization company. So I went from 25 people down to 10 people and kind of building back up now. And just the goal was just to simplify. To be perfectly honest with, the landscaping was killing me. I was working too much. Not that I don't work a lot now, but too many people, not enough management underneath me, which is, on me at the end of the day, but it meant that I had my hand in everything. And I ended up letting go of a manager, blew out my knee, had surgery, brought on a new manager, and just the whole thing was just, it got to be too much. So I worked my way out of that. This is year 2 of Green Sphere only. And so we're a fertilization company. We do lawn fertilization, fully organic. Optimized program is our most popular. That's where we mix some organic with all the control products for, your weeds, your grubs, that kind of thing. Organic mosquito and tick, we call it our OMT program. We've been doing all fully organic there for about a dozen years now. Some plant health care, perimeter pests, lawn renovation, aeration, overseed, that kind of stuff. And we're located just north of Boston, just south of the New Hampshire border on the seacoast in Newburyport, Mass.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's cool to see, I hear you on the we have to retreat back from landscaping, and that can feel like a loss. But if it's a strategic reorganization that makes the company healthier in the long term, that's better than, throwing your body on the rocks and not making it out.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. And, second year in now, we're starting to see things really start to come together. I kind of sat back last year and looked at the Green Sphere company as a whole. I had a manager kind of doing sales there, and he's ultimately moved on. He was burnt out on the industry 35 years in and wasn't really up to the task of what I have in mind for the business and the growth plans. And so a lot of reorganization. We switched softwares this past winter, which has been an undertaking. But
what are y'all using?
So we went from Service Autopilot, which was great for the maintenance, but not fantastic for fertilizer, to Real Green, which is fertilizer specific, basically. But
Gotcha.
it was, you never take these things lightly, but it was way more of an undertaking than I anticipated.
Oh.
But, it's starting to come together now. I can really see a year out the value this is going to bring to us, 8 months, 9 months out when it comes to renewal season. And just a lot of other reorganization type things, new phone system, new sales process, a lot of things, a lot of, marketing and such. So starting to come together. I'm starting to feel good about it. Yeah.
Yeah. But really significant changes in the business after having kind of already gone through that big, service wise, you had a transitional phase, and now you're getting a bunch of organizations and systems changed over. What is you mentioned your growth plan. What do those goals look like?
So this year we're looking to go from 1.2 last year to about 1.5. That I feel is a solid foundation for us to really take the next jump from there. We have someone in-house with a lot of sales experience in the industry who wanted to come on with us, but we didn't have a sales role for him. So he's working as a technician. So we want to get to that point to then put him in place as a salesperson. And I don't really have, I guess kind of shame on me. I don't have like a 3-5 year dialed in just yet. Because we've had so much. I want to see how this year goes, but I want to be at about 2 million within 2 years. And then we can really kind of take off from there. My goal this time around is to really make sure our systems and processes are really, really tight before we make a really big growth leap. That's where I went wrong in the past. We didn't have the foundation in place, which ultimately just puts a lot more back on me as the owner, or anyone as the owner. They're the center of everything. And that's ultimately why I had to get out of the landscaping. I had grown it so large. We were at 3.7 million at one point, and it was taking way too much out of me personally. Looking back, I probably would have exited a bit differently, but that time for me. So my goal this year is just, really keep refining things, get our systems and processes in place, and then we can really focus on, really kicking ass from there. We deliver a fantastic product or service to our customers. Our customer service is fantastic. And, we already this year, just being a little over a month in, I can already see it really taking shape with me kind of back at the helm. And there's no management between me and, the customer, me and the field. So I do have an operations manager who handles, day-to-day stuff, but getting my hands wrapped around it again, and it feels really good. I'm really excited about, where this is going to lead us.
And are y'all on track for that? You mentioned you want to go from like 1.2 to 1.5. So that's like 25% growth. Are y'all on track for that?
Pretty close. I think we're slightly off right now. We're significantly ahead of where we were last year. So that makes me feel really good. We've had a very cold past 5 weeks. We've had barely any sun, cool temps, and it's just kept the phones from really ringing. We're 75 degrees today, so things are starting to pick up again. And we've had decent lead flow, but not quite what I had hoped, which has made me shift a little bit. And I'm putting a lot more emphasis on kind of grassroots type marketing, which is really paying off right now. So that's great.
Well, yeah, let's talk about that grassroots marketing, because that is why I shot you a message and wanted to get you on the show. So tell me a little bit about what y'all have been doing so far this spring to get the phone ringing.
Yeah. Okay. So really ramped up our referral program. We've always had a referral program, but I'm really getting it out more to our customers. I did a series of email blasts back in March, just kind of reintroducing it over 3 emails over about a 3-week period. I've got a pretty decent email list. We've got about 2,500, probably close to 3,000 now, viable contacts on that. We've eliminated about 800 over this winter. So we've got a really good email list to work with. So that was kind of like the first phase of it. From there, with every lead that comes in, I send them an intro email from me, usually updated a little bit, but it's a canned response that I'm sending out to people about who we are, what we have for a referral program, what our new customer offers are. This is a little bit about our program. Talk a lot about our Google reviews. We're up to, as of this morning, actually, we got another one in this morning. We're 184 Google reviews. So I really message the hell out of that in every place that I possibly can, whether it's an email blast to existing customers, thanking them for, being our customers and giving us the reviews, or, the new prospect email. That brings us quite a bit of new leads. So I actually stopped doing any Google ad. I put a ton into it last year, probably about $25,000 into it last year. And my return on it was pretty poor. And I was having an agency running the ads for me. We put about $1,000 into it this year, and I shut it off. I had numerous leads way outside of our area, even though we had it, dialed into our market. Google, I just was really unimpressed. They're taking your money, and there's nothing you can do about it at this point. But our Google organic has ramped up significantly. I respond to every single Google review. We've been updating our GMB profile probably 3 or 4 times a week for the past few months, which is definitely helping getting our ranking up. I really increased our Facebook organic as well as Facebook ad. We're spending a bit of money on Facebook now, and it is generating massive amounts of interest. And now we're just working on getting it converting more. We're testing multiple ad sets, multiple offers where we set out with, for our OMT, our organic mosquito and tick, we had 2 sets of offers. Our OLP, optimized lawn program, we had 2 sets of offers on that. We just, in the past week, revamped those new ads. We're getting tons and tons of traffic to our landing pages, and we're just trying to get a few more converting. They're coming in, but we need to get more converting. But
it's hard to get people to care when it's 50 degrees outside.
Exactly. We're getting a lot of people going to the form, but they're not quite completing it. From what I'm reading, it's about a 5% conversion rate. So I actually need to take another look at, how many people have we got on our landing page versus leads? We probably are in that 5% range. So it just means we just need to get more people driven there. Really encourages me is, in my local market, I know quite a number of other business owners in this industry, similar, contracting in a lot of other industries. And I'm getting messages on a daily basis, like, you're everywhere. This is great. You're killing it with marketing. I'm like, all right, good, buy something. But it's, it just makes me feel like I'm on the right track. So that's good. We did a smallish EDDM campaign this spring. I did a huge one last year, thinking I knew what I was doing, and I didn't. I put a lot of money into it. Well, my customer acquisition costs on that campaign was about $10,000. I hate to hold those people for a long time to break even on them. Yeah, so I learned a lot from that. Cut it way back this year. Really focused this winter on who our ideal client is, where we have saturation, what size lawns we do best with. We found that, on paper at least, we do best with 10,000 square feet and under. The reality is we do pretty well on the larger ones because we're pretty efficient with the equipment we run. But like when you look at, just time and gross margin on 10,000 square feet and under, that's where we want to be. So we target a lot of those neighborhoods, and that's a longer term thing. I had a site visit today for one of those. We've had a handful. I need to probably in about another month look at those areas that we targeted, and I can attribute a lot more of new sales to that piece than I am right now. Because everything comes in as like website, it comes through the website. So that's how it gets distributed. Unless I can get them on the phone or, really dial in with them, where it came from, because a lot of them would just, use the QR code to go to the website and fill out a form. But I couple that with, getting the vehicles out. We did a kick-ass new wrap on a van. Everything is green that we own, green and black and white. So I did like really bright and orange and lime green, and like it is attention getting. It's this gigantic Freightliner van driving down the street. So like, getting that into the neighborhood. But a huge campaign that's works really well for us is with our step 1 on the OMT, the organic mosquito and tick. I've got all these, the 12 by 18 site signs. So, smaller site signs, just has the logo, organic mosquito and tick, phone number. And the day prior to servicing their account, I hit every single person up. It's a mass email to that who's scheduled for the next day. And I do that for a couple of reasons. One, because I'm asking for them to put our sign out, asking permission. And the way I position it is, Anthony's going to be out tomorrow. He's your technician. Can we leave this small sign, to somewhere particularly you'd like it? Let us know. We'll pick it up next month when we come back for the next round, or take it in and just let us know where it's going to be. Almost no one says no. It might be 5%, if that, probably even less. But it gives me a touch point with the customer. I get so many emails back from them. Absolutely happy to help. Thank you so much for asking. And I respond to every single one because it gives me a second touch point with the customer.
Would you like to leave a Google review?
So yeah, exactly. That's what comes next. So, but as many touch points as I can get with the customer, because then when I do ask for the Google review, they know me, they know my technicians. I have my technicians leave their names on everything. Anytime we're, doing pre-notifications, they know who's coming because I want them to know who's on their property because you don't fire your friends. When Anthony or Nick or Evan screws up, they know Anthony, Evan, and Nick, and they know that they're not a bad guy and they're not a shithead for, excuse my language, but that goes a long way. So I go a little overboard and drive myself crazy with trying to communicate as much as possible with the customers. And I get very frustrated with myself when I can't do it quickly enough, but I see the results of it. The more you can do that kind of thing, the easier it is to sell to them, the more referrals you get. And I have a few hundred site signs out in all over our market area. And I'm getting calls pretty much daily. How'd you get a name? Oh, I saw your sign at my neighbor's house. Nice. And then
Awesome.
what I do is I don't like to ask too often because then it wears thin. Like last year, I just did round one. This year, what I've done is I've taken a few days here and there out where I didn't ask. And so now I'm hitting them up on round two and I'm saving more for round three to keep them in the field longer. Where I am, and maybe it might be a little different from you. I know some people in the Dallas area. I mean, they're just, my understanding is like there's site signs everywhere down there in other parts of the country. People really frown upon them in our area. So like I put them out on roadsides, they don't even last a day. The towns pull them, people pull them. So if I get them on people's properties, they can't pull them. So I try to get as much of that, and that way it's less intrusive than just sticking them at all the intersections. We have some of that going on around here, but they don't last long. So I try just, like I said, just to be very strategic with where I'm getting those signs out and, how I'm asking for them and making sure that they're willing participants in marketing my company.
Well, and I like that the staggered approach that you're doing this year where you're saving some people for round two and round three so that you've got signs up throughout the season to get people on board. Earlier, you mentioned that on Facebook right now, you guys are running a few offers, one for the mosquito and tick program, one for the optimized lawn program. Can you walk us through what those offers look like that you're testing?
Yeah. So I've been doing a couple of different things. So $50 for new customers. That applies to either program. And I'm trying to sell a lot more, multiple programs to customers, either existing or new. So with any new lead, if they ask for our optimized lawn, I'm giving them OMT as well. And in the cover letter email, I'm saying, I wanted you to have pricing for this. If you're not interested, just don't accept it. But if you do, here's a bundle discount. I give them a free application. And it kind of works both ways. If they ask for OMT, well, here's our lawn program. Thought you might be interested. Here's a free application with it. If you're not, don't worry about it. And I offer that to my existing customers to upsell them additional packages or the new leads. I tried some military discounts, first responders. I really got nothing out of it. I actually had a bunch of existing customers saying, am I getting that? And they all were. It's like, you already are. So yeah, that didn't play as well as I had thought it might. But that's why you test things. Right now, what we're on to is free application. So I'm doing free Lime application. That's a double app at the end of the season. We can absorb that. Not the hugest deal. And in order to get that free application, they have to be a customer for the full season. And when I do those bundle discounts, it's always the last application instead of the first. That way they're not getting a discount on, their lawn care plus a free application on OMT, and then they cancel. And then, I've lost pretty hard on that. So we've got the free application, and then we've got 50% off your first application. So two different ad sets that we're running. Both just went live this week. It's about 50-50 so far, the leads per ad set. It's fairly new, so I don't know how yet it compares to the offers we were running last month just yet.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we did
So
a lot of video over the winter as well. So all the ads that we're doing, I shouldn't say all, but a lot of ads that we're doing have a video component to them, which is definitely helping rank better on Facebook. Facebook likes the ads, I mean the videos over, still images or text.
yeah.
At least they do lately. See how long that lasts. Um, but that's just helped to make it a little more professional, I guess, too. While I'm doing a lot of ads to add that professional touch, a lot of them are me driving, and I'll have my phone on, a mount. And for whatever reason, people love that. When you're driving and talking to the camera, but you're looking ahead, the first time I did that, I had something like 6,000 views of that ad. And I shouldn't even call it an ad. That was more of an organic post that I
You
boosted.
posted it like as a reel.
Exactly. Yeah. But that, for whatever reason, I had people from high school coming out of the woodwork and messaging me. Granted, I can't go work for them because they're not in my area, but it got a lot of attention for whatever reason. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing that I covered this a long time ago on the channel, but there was a lawn care company who paid to be part of some like roundtable with Gary Vaynerchuk.
Mm-hmm.
And they were asking him for advice on their marketing strategy. And they were talking about the organic posting that they're doing. And one of the things that he told them was like, put out a ton of organic content and then see what gets any kind of traction behind it. And then you can put money into that in your ad campaign.
Yep.
So for free, you get to find a winner for creative and then just push it out in a paid way. And like, obviously there's some pieces that won't work for that. But if you're kind of tailoring all your content with that in mind, then whatever works, you're able to put some money behind and have work, just like you described doing.
Yeah. It's funny. I didn't realize that that's exactly what I did. Yeah. And then I guess the last piece that we're really pushing right now is I have a software with a partner, actually a former employee of mine was a technician in the field, called UpGauge. We've been developing it for a few years, and he's now a web developer. Works for the Dave Ramsey Group, programming apps for them. So, he and I have this company on the side as well that we're trying to get off the ground, but we've been doing the proof of concept within my company. And the way that it works is the guys are incentivized to identify upsells in the field. So they're out on properties and, they're the eyes and ears in the field. Yeah. We can't possibly be, we've got 900 odd customers right now. We can't be on all those other sites even once this year to look around. So what they do is they identify an upsell, put some pictures in, some notes, and submit it to me. And then I turn around and sell it. They get a commission out of it. And that's the kind of a real quick overview of it.
Awesome.
But what we found last year rolling this out, we had started off going in a completely different direction with training. The training kind of fell flat and the upsell piece took off right away. And as soon as someone started making money with it, because they were making suggestions to customers, they don't have to sell anything. They don't have to talk pricing. They don't have to be salesmen. It's just identifying and talking with a customer or leaving it on their leave behinds or, I don't like the cold reach out. I like to have it lightly warm, but there's a lot of stuff that could just come through. Hey, no one was around, yada, yada, yada. And I'll reach out on it. But as soon as someone started making money, it was, what did you submit? Show me what you're doing. The engagement that we got within the company, it shot through the roof. It was a completely unintended benefit. Our weekly meetings, instead of everyone looking at the floor, it was, talking to each other, talking about what was converting for them, talking about what they're seeing. The plant health tech is talking about, here's what to look for. And the lawn guys, kind of the same thing. And then another interesting thing happened. The customers became much more engaged with us. And then, they got to know our techs better. When they were making suggestions, they're taking them. We're selling a lot more to the customers. And then later in the year, as this was really starting to roll, I started doing the Google review reach out. And I got 40 odd of them in about a month by doing email blast, asking for Google reviews. And after the first one, we got a couple in. And then I tweaked the second message and let them all know that, oh, by the way, if you use your technician's name, we try to get you guys to know the technician, that if you use their name in the review, they get $25. It's up through the roof because now they're giving tips to the guys that they like already. I don't know how I missed out on the first go around, but it went from like 3 or 4 to like 20 in the next week. It was pretty amazing. So what we've been working on this year is just continuing to refine that UpGauge software. And we've been adding in different metrics for the guys to see. I'm now putting a rating on it. So I always give them feedback on, the kind of the quality of the upsell or asking them questions. And what I'm constantly doing is kind of teaching them, what I need to sell these things. It's not enough to be like, oh, I talked to the customer about, I mentioned, OMT to the customer. All right, well, what was the conversation? All right, well, they were out working in the yard and they were complaining about the tons of mosquitoes and how they got, a koi pond over here. And like, okay, now I got something I can work with and talk to these people with. So I'm getting better feedback from the field. I'm giving them a rating on it. Once I put an estimate in, they can see what the estimate amount is, see what their potential commission is. And if I rated it a 1 and I give them, but I put an estimate amount, $300, they know they're really not going to make any money on that. All right, so why is it a 1? We didn't talk to the customer, and just continue to refine these things. An update that went live this morning is every time they put an upsell in, if they've talked to the customer, it's spitting out based on historical data. You have a 55% chance of converting this upsell. If they pick out,
interesting.
It's an amazing update that my partner threw in. If you didn't talk to the customer, your chances of converting this are 4.88%. Like that's our actual data right now. You talk to the customer, you have a 10 times better chance of converting this. So now we're teaching them to include more in the lead buys. You can't talk to the customer. We have printers in the truck now. You don't have to scribble things. You can give them a note. I
saw that post. Yeah.
Yeah. That was part of the Real Green transition. Little bumpy at first, but the guys are liking it now. And I'm loving the information we're getting to the customers. So we're just trying to teach them how to educate the customers better. And I'm very, very big on if the customer doesn't need it, don't recommend it. Like I don't want to sell anything to the customer that will lose trust really, really quickly. But it's really going well. So, we've got all the things to bring in, the work on to bring in new customers, but how do we maximize the value of our existing customers? And we've got almost twice our average client value per year is almost twice that of, other areas of the country because we're able to sell them multiple programs. And we're also in a higher dollar market to begin with, being, in the Boston area. But, our goal is just to keep inching that up. And we look at that on a weekly basis, what's our average client value this week. And, we've got a lot that are, $400 or $500, but we've got customers that are in the, $3,000 to $5,000 range just in fertilizer, which is great. Our target's about $1,200 and, that's kind of what it averages out to be. So, yeah.
If someone wants to, stay in touch with you so that they can track the development of UpGauge or just like crib your marketing strategies, where can they find you online?
Yeah. So my personal Facebook page, I'm starting to use that a little bit more. That's one of my goals before spring hit was to start using that a bit more to talk more about this stuff. But I've also got a group that I just got off the ground about a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago, called the Home Service Growth Mindset, which is it's a Facebook group just to talk about marketing and employee engagement. And, there's a lot of green industry groups, and I got real tired of how do I price this job? Like there's none of that on this group. That's the
I'm
part of the rule.
One.
So please do. But yeah, Facebook's a great way to get in touch with me. I'm pretty active on that now. Very active in Messenger, which is how we connected. But yeah, just Chris Imlach on through Facebook.
Sweet. Yeah. And I'll drop a link to the Home Service Growth Mindset group because I think that'd be awesome. I'm in the group, and then that's how we became friends.
Yeah.
And then I reached out. Well, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude,
awesome.
thank you. Thank you so much for coming on the show, making the time to kind of talk us through what you've been doing. I know it's spring and everybody's busy, so I really appreciate the time.
Yeah. No, I'm glad to be able to do this. I'm glad you reached out, and it kind of allows me to take a step back and slow down and go, okay, I'm focused on running leads and running upsells, but there are things that go on in the company, outside of spring. So I got to keep my focus on that as well. So I'm glad we were able to do this.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on, guys. We will see you next week.
Awesome. Thank you very much.